What's up, guys? The Snowman here again, and today I've got my preview and what we can expect for the 2021 She Believes Cup, a fun tournament that the U.S. has been hosting since 2016. This year's edition is going to be featuring the U.S. women's national team, which I am repping today. Also alongside them, Brazil, Argentina, and Canada. So 3 teams in the top 10 of the FIFA World Rankings. It's a busy year in women's soccer, of course, with the Olympics coming later in July. This is a great opportunity for all 4 of these teams to continue their preparations for that and look forward to the future. So let's dive into the 6th annual She Believes Cup. And the schedule for the She Believes Cup is as follows. All 4 teams will play each other once as part of the round-robin format, so 3 games for each nation. A team gets 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, 0 for a defeat. Whichever team has the most points after the 6 games is the champion. No knockout round, just 3 games for each team. No extra time or penalties as well. All games taking place at Exploria Stadium in Orlando, Florida for this year's event. Match day 1 will feature the South Americans, Brazil and Argentina against one another. USA versus Canada should be an awesome game. I think whoever wins that match probably wins the whole tournament. The US did beat the Canadians 3-0 about a year ago in CONCACAF Olympic qualifying. Then you see match day 2, the US has Brazil, who they've won their last 4 encounters against, Canada versus Argentina. And then we ended on the 24th with Canada and Brazil. USA versus Argentina. The Argentines are a bit lower than the other 3 teams in the world rankings. They've got a great opportunity there to prove that they belong with the top dogs in Orlando. Now let's go through each team's roster for the She Believes Cup, talk about key players and current form. This is the squad for Coach Vlatko Andonovski's team. They're coming off an impressive couple of victories against Colombia last month, 4-0 and 6-0. The USA currently on a 34-match unbeaten streak. They are undefeated under Andonovski. No Tobin Heath, though, on this roster. She suffered a serious ankle injury this month, will miss 10 to 12 weeks. Hopefully Heath makes a full recovery and is back in time for the Olympics in July. Also, no Sam Mewis, who's staying in England to rehab a minor ankle injury. Mewis was the star against Colombia, scoring a hat trick in January. The good news for U.S. fans is that Alex Morgan could be making her first international start since the 2019 World Cup. It's been a long, arduous road back for Morgan, giving birth to her first child and then testing positive for COVID, having a tough battle against the virus. She's apparently very close to regaining her full form, though, and the U.S. forwards are so loaded. I couldn't believe how well Carly Lloyd played against Colombia. At age 38, she can still deliver a full 90-minute performance, creating goal-scoring opportunities, being an aerial threat, but also facilitating and defending. The midfield will miss Mewis, but you still have Haran, Rose Lavelle, Julie Ertz. The defense has been so consistent lately with Dunn, Sauerbrunn, Dahlkemper, and O'Hara. Emily Fox on this roster, fresh off becoming the #1 overall pick in the NWSL draft last month. The former Carolina Tar Heel drafted by Louisville. Get used to seeing Fox's name. And I just love the makeup of this team. They're on a 50-match unbeaten streak on home soil. So although the other 3 teams have a ton of talent too, we'll get to them in a moment. I really love the USA's chances in Orlando. They were already champions before Vlatko took over, but he's helped them reach a higher level. Moving to Canada's roster, I feel like top to bottom, Canada is one of maybe 5 or 6 nations in the world that is really truly in the same league as the United States. They've got A-listers all over the pitch. Plenty of experience, plenty of champions in their respective leagues in Europe. They haven't played since March of 2020, a mini tournament in France where they lost to the French, also drew the Netherlands and Brazil, so some high-level opposition, but it has been some time. The only problem for Canada is that they'll be without 7 key players for this tournament, one of which the most iconic Canadian footballer of all time, 37-year-old Christine Sinclair, and her 186 international goals, more than any man or woman in the history of international football. Sinclair will miss the She Believes Cup because of an injury. Also injured is former #1 goalkeeper Aaron McLeod and the dynamic veteran midfielder Diana Matheson. And then you also have a trio of talented players who play in France domestically, and they weren't granted permission by their clubs to travel to the U.S. Those 3, Kadisha Buchanan, Ashley Lawrence, and Jordan Heidema, 3 world-class players. Buchanan and Lawrence in particular, the 2 reigning Canadian players of the year in 2019 and 2020, part of a very athletic defense, so they're missing some big stars. That can't be overstated, but I still see a lot of versatility in this lineup. They're not as deep as the U.S., but Nichelle Prince and Janine Becky are fast on the outside. The midfield is chock full of crafty veterans like Sophie Schmidt and Desiree Scott. Jess Fleming can be a real creative spark far, kind of similar to Rose Lavelle for the U.S. I'm hoping they really unleash Fleming at this event. Obviously not ideal that they're missing some huge names, but Canada still ranked 8th in the world. They'll take full confidence into Orlando that the players they are bringing can hang with the U.S. Looking at Brazil, I mentioned Canada competed at that tournament in France last March. Well, so did the Brazilians, and they had very similar results. In fact, they're also tied with Canada, ranked number 8 in the FIFA World Rankings. Also played a couple of friendlies late in 2020 where they trounced Ecuador. Brazil brings a very formidable squad to the States, maybe just a tick below Canada for me, but the South American champs are looking to keep improving, make preparations for the Olympics in July. Brazil is coached by ex-USA head coach Pia Sundhage. You might remember she won a couple of gold medals with the U.S. in 2008 and 2012. She's also beaten the U.S. at the Olympics with Sweden in 2016. Not fond memories for me. Just one defeat for Brazil in Sundhage's first 13 games in charge. That was to France last year. And like Canada, Brazil packs a living legend themselves in Marta. Marta will be very comfortable at this She Believes Cup as she's played for the Orlando Pride since 2017. Exploria Stadium is her home stadium, and Debinha also very used to playing in the U.S. She's been one of the very best in the NWSL the last few years, playing for the North Carolina Courage. Debinha capable of some spectacular highlights. Some other familiar faces, Cristiane Andressinia and Tressa Alves. I'm excited to see the potential debut for 19-year-old midfielder Ivana Fuso. Fuso has dual nationality, Brazilian-German. This girl could have played for Germany's senior team, but she chose Brazil. Her youth career for Germany was incredible, captaining the U17 teams at the World Cup and the Euros. Seems to have a great wealth of experience already, just a very promising young talent. So keep an eye on Fuso as one of the younger pieces to help blend with the vets, the Martas, the Formigas of the world. And a quick look at the team that Argentina is bringing to the She Believes Cup. Definitely a peg lower than the other three teams. They're replacing Japan, who was slated to be the 4th team. Argentina ranked 31 in the world, and they haven't played an official match since December of 2019, so very low reps lately, but Argentina had their best ever showing at the 2019 World Cup. Unfortunately, the big headline with Argentina is the continued disrespect that the federation shows its players. Not too long ago, the women were completely inactive for 18 months between 2015 and 17 after players went on strike regarding unpaid stipends. Many of the players, simply asking for better conditions, but the Football Federation is unwilling to heed these basic requests. And one of the players who's been outspoken lately about these horrid conditions is their best player, Estefania Bonini, one of the more exciting players at the World Cup 2 years ago. And Bonini has not been included in this roster for the She Believes Cup because of her outspoken nature. So it's just a mess right now. Very unfortunate situation for these players. This team is going to be quite undermanned. Their captain, goalkeeper Vanina Correa, has represented the national team since 2003, but there's so much unknown about many of these players. I'm excited to see how they stack up against 3 of the world's best, but the last time they did play the United States was a friendly in 2014. Argentina recorded a 7-0 defeat. A few predictions now, but first a look at how the previous 5 editions of the She Believes Cup have transpired. You can see at the bottom of this table, the U.S. women's national team has won 3 of those 5 titles in 2016, 18, and 20. Wasn't so fun in 2017 for the Americans when they finished dead last. Brazil, the only other team that has played this event before, they finished 4th in 2019, and then Canada and Argentina making their debuts. The way I see the 2021 She Believes Cup shaking out is that Argentina comes in 4th. Unfortunately, their coaching, their players, their federation aren't all on the same page, and compared to the other 3 countries, again, they are a couple of classes below. I anticipate Brazil finishing in 3rd this time around. Expect them to bring the flair up front. I just don't see the Brazilian backline as being as airtight as the 2 North American nations. In 2nd, I think it'll be Canada. Hopefully Sinclair is back very soon, but make no mistake, even without a handful of key players, the Canadians are still more talented than most other teams. Unfortunately for them, no one is more talented than the USA right now. It's been so long since my eyes have witnessed them lose, so I will take Rapinoe and Ertz and Haran and all of those stars and stripes to win the 2021 She Believes Cup. All right, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed it or found it informational. If you want more U.S. women's national team or women's soccer content, please subscribe to the Snowman Sports Media and stay tuned for more Olympic coverage and a lot of big football tournaments this summer. So I'm very excited. So thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.